Good afternoon and welcome to the April 27th meeting of the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission. I'll call this meeting to order and ask for the introductory recording, please.
Before we begin the agenda, the Wichita Sedgwick County Metropolitan Area Planning Commission and the Wichita Sedgwick County Board of Zoning Appeals would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to this public hearing. For those in attendance, copies of the agenda for today's meeting, the public hearing procedure and planning department staff reports on all agenda items are available in the lobby. The Planning Commission and the BZA's bylaws limit the applicant on a zoning, subdivision, or variance application and his or her representatives to a total of 10 minutes of speaking time at the start of the hearing on that plus item, up to 2 minutes at the conclusion of that hearing. All other persons wishing to speak on agenda items are limited to 3 minutes per person. However, if they feel that it is needed and justified, the chairman may extend these times by up to 2 minutes. All speakers are requested to state his or her name and address for the record when beginning to speak. When you are finished speaking, please share your name, address, and the case number on the sheet provided in the room. This will enable staff to notify you if there are any additional proceedings concerning that item. All speakers at the podium, please remove your face mask before speaking into the microphone. Please note that all written and visual materials you present to the commission and the board will be retained by the secretary as part of the official record. If you are not speaking, but you wish to be notified about future proceedings on a particular case, please provide your contact information to the planning department. The Planning Commission and the board are interested in hearing the views of all persons who wish to express themselves on the agenda items. However, we ask that all speakers please be as courteous and concise as possible and avoid long repetitions of facts or opinions which have already been stated. For your information, the Wichita City Council has adopted a policy for all city zoning items. A copy of this policy is available from the planning staff. The City Council relies on a written record of the Planning Commission hearings and does not conduct additional public hearings on these items. The decision of the BZA is final. Any appeal of a decision of the BZA is to the district court.
Thank you. Now I would ask Mr. Cox, please, to do a roll call of commissioners in attendance, please. And thank you for using your microphone.
Fox.
Here.
Duel.
Here.
McKay.
Here.
Green.
Here.
Bill Johnson.
Here.
Blick.
Here.
Nix. Hugh Nix. Absent. Foster.
Here.
Warren.
Here.
Joe Johnson.
Here.
Miles.
Here.
Hartman.
Here.
Aldridge.
Here.
Williams Bay.
Here.
I show 13 members present and 1 absent.
Thank you. We will defer action on the minutes. They'll be approved at the next meeting or reviewed at the next meeting. Now we will walk through the agenda to identify those items that we might be able to take on consent and identify those that we would like to hear in public today. Item 2.1, subdivision 2023 quadruple 04, final plat at 135th Street and 13th Street. Anybody on the commission want to hear this case? Does anybody in the chambers want to hear this case? Does anyone participating virtually want to hear this case? We will take that item on consent. I have a motion from Commissioner McKay,
Second.
second from Commissioner Miles. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion passes 12-1. Vacation item 3.1, vacation 2023 quadruple 08, located at 1908 South Millwood Avenue. Is there anyone on the commission who would like to hear this case? Anyone in the chambers who would like to hear this case? I see none. Anyone participating virtually who would like to hear this case, 1908 South Millwood Avenue? We will take that item on consent.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve item 3.1.
Have a motion from Commissioner Green,
Second.
second from Commissioner Joe Johnson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay. Motion passes 13-0. Moving to public hearing items, 4.1, conditional use 2023 quadruple 04. This is located at the southwest corner of East Douglas and South Oliver. Does anyone on the commission want to hear this case? Commissioner McKay?
Haven't we heard this before?
This is coming back to us with changes.
We probably should hear it then.
Okay, we will hear 4.1. Is the agent or applicant present? Okay, thank you. Item 4.2, conditional use 2023 quadruple 07, located at Harry and Hillside, specific location 1628 South George, Washington. Does anyone on the commission want to hear this case? Does anyone in chambers want to hear this case? 1628 South George, Washington. Seeing none, does anyone yes?
Is this the nightclub that's proposed?
Yes. Yes, it is. And so you would like to hear this case? Okay. Okay. All right, thank you. We will hear item 4.2. Item 4.3, conditional use 2023 quadruple 08, located at Mariposa Lane and Ridge Road, 1515 South Yucca. Mr. Johnson?
Well, I will abstain from this item.
Okay, we have an abstention on this item. Does anyone on the commission want to hear this item? 1515 South Yucca. Yucca, maybe? Sorry, guys. They're yucking it up. Anyone in the chambers like to hear this case? 1515 South Yucca. Seeing none. Anyone participating virtually who would like to hear this case, 4.3? We will take that on consent, but it will also need a separate vote, so please note. Item 4.4, conditional use 2023 quadruple 09. This is a request at 109th Street North and 183rd Street West. Does anyone on the commission want to hear this case? Item 4.4. Seeing none, anyone in chambers want to hear this case? Is that a hand raised over here at the wall? Yes, no? Okay. Is anyone participating virtually want to hear this case? Conditional use 2023 quadruple 09. Hearing none, we will take 4.4 on consent. Item 4.5, community unit plan 2023 00011 at 601 North West Street. That's Plaza West Shopping Center. Does anyone on the commission want to hear this case? Anyone participating in chambers want to hear this case? Plaza West Shopping Center. Anyone participating virtually want to hear this case? Hearing none, 4.5 can be taken on consent. Item 4.6, planned unit development 2023 quadruple 03, located at northwest corner of 21st and I-135. Does anyone on the commission want to hear this case? Does anyone in chambers want to hear this case? 21st and I-135. Does anyone participating virtually want to hear this case? We will take item 4.6 on consent. Item 4.7, zoning case 2023 quadruple 06 and community unit plan 2023 quadruple 03 is also referred back to us by city council. So we will hear that case 4.7, and that's located at 4319 North Meridian. Item 4.8, zoning case 2023 00011 at 2507 South Laura Avenue. Does anyone on the commission want to hear this case? Anyone in chambers want to hear this case? 2507 South Laura Avenue. Anyone participating virtually want to hear this case? Hearing none, we'll take 4.8 on consent. Item 4.9, zoning case 2023 00012, located at 29th North and West Street. Does anyone on the commission want to hear this case? Does anyone in chambers want to hear this case? Exact address is 3350 Northwest Street. Does anyone participating virtually want to hear this case? We will take 4.9 on consent. Item 4.10, zoning case 2023 00013 at 342 North Pennsylvania. Does anyone on the commission want to hear this case? Anyone in chambers want to hear this case? 342 North Pennsylvania. Does anyone participating virtually want to hear this case? Hearing and seeing none, 4.10 can be taken on consent. Item 4.11, zoning case 2023 00014 at 11625 West 23rd Street South. Does anyone on the commission want to hear this case? Anyone in chambers want to hear this case? 11625 West 23rd Street South. Seeing none, anyone virtually want to hear this case? Okay, we will take 4.11 on consent. Item 4.12, zoning case 2023 00015, located at 247 North Elizabeth. Does anyone on the commission want to hear this case? Elizabeth and West 2nd Street North. Does anyone in the chambers want to hear this case? Okay, we have a couple here. All right, we will hear 4.12.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve items 4.3.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Green, a second from Commissioner Foster for item 4.3, and abstaining member Bill Johnson. Any discussion on this case? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 12-0-1.
Move to approve per staff comments, items 4.4, 4.5, 4.6, 4.8, 4.9, 4.10, and 4.11.
Second.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Foster, second from Commissioner Miles. Any discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes 13-0. That brings us back to the top of the agenda, item 4.1, and Christina Reith will present, please, the staff report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Christina Reith, Associate Planner with the Metropolitan Area Planning Department. This is case number Con 2023-04. The applicant is requesting a conditional use for a tavern and drinking establishment at 4715 and 4717 East Douglas Avenue. The subject site is 1.4 acres in size, is zoned limited commercial, and is currently developed with a strip mall. The applicant will use one suite of the building for this tavern and drinking establishment. As you guys recall, this case was initially heard by the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission on April 3rd. To further clarify the intended uses on the property and modify the hours of operation, the MAPC voted to defer this case to today. The applicant is requesting this conditional use in order to serve alcohol at 4715 East Douglas. The suite is currently occupied with a hair salon, and the applicant intends to expand or modify his existing business. The supplementary use regulations of the Unified Zoning Code require a conditional use for tavern and drinking establishment when it is within 300 feet of residential zoning. So in this case, there is TF3, two-family residential zoning, and single-family residential district zoning, approximately 68 feet west and south of the subject property. The existing business is located within the Lincoln Heights shopping mall. The applicant's site plan demonstrates an existing parking lot on site that would satisfy the proposed tavern and drinking establishment's parking requirements of one parking space per two occupants. There's an additional parking lot directly to the south of the subject site, also owned by the applicant, that can be used towards off-street parking. Just a little bit of case history. There are no zoning cases associated with this property. The request is in conformance with the Community Investments Plan. The 2035 Future Growth Concept Map recommends a subject site as appropriate for commercial land uses, so this is an appropriate use for that land. The request is also in conformance with the locational guidelines for the comprehensive plan. A general development pattern guideline states that development should occur where necessary supporting infrastructure and services exist or are planned for extension concurrently with development. More specifically, major commercial and employment centers should be located at intersections of arterial streets, and the proposed tavern and drinking establishment is located at the intersection of two arterial streets. The subject site is also located at what the Wichita Places for People Plan identifies as a node. The node is an area which contains the highest intensity of uses, or predominantly commercial and mixed-use development. So small-scale commercial, such as tavern and drinking establishment, is appropriate for this site. Based upon the information available prior to the public hearings, planning staff recommends that the request be approved, subject to the following conditions. I won't go over all of them. I'll just mention that there won't be any outside loudspeakers. Operation of the tavern and drinking establishment, which was agreed upon by the applicant and I, or in the planning staff, were 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Monday through Thursday, 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. on Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. on Saturday, and 11 a.m. to 12 a.m. on Sunday. You can see in your reports that we have received many comments in support of this tavern and drinking establishment. And with that, I will go to the site photos, please. This is looking east away from the site. Next slide, please. This is also looking east away from the site. This is just south of the previous photo. Next slide, please. This is looking east towards the site. This is the back of the strip mall. Next slide, please. This is looking north away from the site. There's some tavern and drinking establishments here as well. Next slide, please. This is looking north towards the site. Next slide, please. This is a picture of one of the residential zoning districts that is right by the proposed tavern and drinking establishment. Next slide, please. This is looking southeast towards Watermark Books, if you're familiar. Next slide, please. And this is looking towards the Lincoln Heights Village Mall. As you can see, there is an adequate amount of parking for this site. Next slide, please. This is looking west towards some of the residential districts or residential zoning. Next slide, please. And this is a bank that is next to the houses, just north of the houses. Next slide, please. And this is where the current hair salon is located. Next slide, please. And with that, I will stand for questions.
Any questions for staff? Commissioner Aldrich.
Just for clarification purposes, the conditional use would be for the entire property, not just for that one suite?
It will be just for that one suite. So it will be we will have a revised site plan that will illustrate where the suite is going to be. And so the tavern and drinking establishment will only apply to that suite.
Is that, Christina, is that the part that's penciled
Yes.
out of the full mall on
Yes.
page 7 of our materials?
It's condition 2, Bob. If you look at condition 2.
Okay.
I just wanted to get a clarification, because I know there was talk the first time that it may be for the whole deal, and not just limited just to that one particular suite.
Okay, any other questions for staff? Commissioner McKay?
Clarification, when you started making your presentation, you said 47, 15, and 17.
Yes, so there are multiple addresses within that suite.
So that should be for those 2 addresses.
Yes, because there's a hair salon. Yeah, so in the site plan, you can see that there's 2 outlined suites.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for staff? If not, we would ask the agent or applicant to please come forward, and you have 10 minutes to tell us about your revised plan.
Good afternoon. My name is Brent Allison, 4715 and 17 East Douglas. I'm here representing the property owner, which is Walter Morris. The business is my business. We agree with the conditions that the staff has placed on the zoning request. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer. That's about where we stand.
Any questions for the applicant? Commissioner Aldrich?
And you're also good with the hours of operation?
I'm sorry?
I said you're good with the hours of operation too?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. And thanks for the work you've done since the last time this came. It seems like much more clear what's happening there. And we're grateful for that and for the opportunity to communicate to the neighborhood. Is there anyone in chambers who would like to make a public comment on this case? Yes? Yeah, please come forward to the podium. This is, Central, or Douglas and Oliver. If you'll state your name and address, and you have 3 minutes for your comments.
My name is Jack Patton. I live at 337 South Rutan in the College Hill area. I'm in support of this for various reasons. He's not asking for any exemptions, variations, special treatment, zoning changes, or anything like that. Not diverting any traffic into residential areas, demolishing any houses, or intruding on the residential zone. Plus, they're truly a local business. In various conversations with other neighbors, their reactions are more along the lines of curiosity, what's going to happen with the building, the layout, that kind of thing. And most of them mentioned that they would like to check it out when it opens up, so, including my wife. So I'm sure we'll be there. This is comments on Con 2023-04. Thank you.
Any questions for the speaker? Thank you. Any other persons in chambers who would like to comment on this item? And commissioners did receive a packet with other statements of support from neighboring businesses. Is there anyone participating virtually who would like to speak on this item? Oliver and Douglas. Okay. Hearing none, we'll bring it back to the commission.
Move to approve for staff comments.
We have a motion approved from Commissioner Bill Johnson, a second from Commissioner Green. Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes 13-0. Thank you. Next item sorry, I just lost my agenda page. Item 4.2. And we'll call Christina again for the staff report, please.
This is case number Con 2023-07. The applicant is requesting a conditional use for a nightclub in the city on an unplatted property located at 1628 South George Washington Boulevard. The subject site is 1.18 acres in size and is zoned LC Limited Commercial District. The site is developed with a strip mall that includes a music shop, an insurance agency, and a salon. The suite where the applicant proposes to have the nightclub in the city, which is more on the south side here, is currently vacant. The applicant is requesting the conditional use in order to permit live entertainment and alcohol in the same space. The need for the conditional use at this location is due to the requested land use and the proximity of MF 29 multifamily district zoning here, which is 278 feet southwest of the subject site. Nightclub in the city will be an accessory use to an event center. Security will be provided on site. That was relayed to me by the agent for the applicant. If we take a look at the site plan, it demonstrates there are 50 parking spaces on the northwest side of the strip mall and an additional 15 parking spaces on the southeast side of the strip mall. The suite shares parking with multiple tenants within the strip mall. However, the agent for the applicant has indicated that the other businesses operate mostly during the day, and the proposed event center will operate in the evening. So if we look at one parking space per 2 occupants, this nightclub in the city will have a maximum capacity of 130 persons. The subject property is surrounded by commercially zoned properties on all sides. And the character of the neighborhood, when you look at this particular intersection here, is mostly commercial, but as you look further south, it does become high density residential, and then it gradually becomes lower density residential. The request is in conformance with the Community Investments Plan. The Community Investments Plan recommends the subject site is primarily appropriate for industrial land uses. And, when you look at this aerial here and the zoning, this one-story strip mall serves as a buffer from the higher intensity industrial uses, from the high density residential uses, and then the lower density residential uses. The request is also in conformance with the locational guidelines of the comprehensive plan. A general development pattern guideline states that development should occur where necessary supporting infrastructure and services exist or are planned for extension concurrently with the development. The subject site has municipal services in place and a vacant suite that will serve the maximum number of occupants. The request is also in conformance with the Wichita Places for People Plan. The subject site is located near East Harry Street and South George Washington Boulevard, which the Places for People Plan identifies as a community core. The requested conditional use will expand upon an existing business in a one-story strip mall, which fits the scale around the existing neighborhood. Based upon the information available prior to the public hearings, planning staff recommends that the request be approved, subject to the following conditions, which are listed in your staff report. But I will mention that the parking lot shall be kept free of all trash and debris. No loitering, congregating, or excessive noise shall be permitted in the parking lot. No outdoor consumption of alcohol. Operation of nightclub in the city shall be 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. Sunday through Thursday, and 5 p.m. to 2 a.m. Friday and Saturday. And if the zoning administrator finds that there is a violation of any of these conditions, the zoning administrator may, with concurrence of the planning director, declare that conditional use null and void. This recommendation is based on the following findings, which are also known as the golden rules. At the time the staff report was prepared, staff received one public comment via email that was in opposition to the proposed conditional use. That comment is attached to the end of the report. I also have been in conversation with him via phone call. And with that, I will stand for questions.
Commissioner Foster.
Christina, I'm a little confused again as to location. Is the address that's noted here, 1628 South, is that the entire strip mall? Or
Yes,
is it
that's
just
the entire
that
strip mall.
suite? So someone could use this conditional use to expand the event center onto the entire site at some point or not?
Yes, they could.
Thank you.
Other questions for staff at this time? Then we would call for the applicant or agent to come forward and tell us about the project, please.
Now I'll be translating.
Okay. We'll state, I think we can take name and address.
Sí, hola, mi nombre es Carmen. La dirección es 1628 Sur Yale, Washington.
Her name is Maria del Carmen de Garcia, and her address is 1628 South George Washington Boulevard.
Nuestro proyecto es un salón para eventos familiares donde habrá niños, es para cumpleaños, baby shower, bautizos. Contamos con seguridad, cámaras y estacionamientos.
This is going to be for family events such as baby showers and events of the like. And there's going to be security and there will be cameras.
Hemos trabajado duro para poder arreglar el salón. Espero que nos den la oportunidad de poder trabajar en esto que es un sueño para nosotros.
They've worked very hard to get it renovated, and they would really appreciate that it becomes approved.
Could you get her name and address?
Oh, what is su nombre y dirección?
Mi nombre es Marcela García. La dirección es 1628 Sur Yale, Washington Boulevard.
Yeah. So her name is Marcela Garcia, and her address is 1628 South George Washington Boulevard.
Okay. Do we have any questions for the applicant from the commission? Okay, thank you. And now this is a time for public comment. So if you'd like to speak about your this case, please come to the podium, your name and address, and you have 3 minutes to make your comments.
Marilyn and Donald Gromish. Our address is 3101 Wilma Street. We're against this. First of all, may I ask, is the event center and the tavern and nightclub all one thing?
And we'll take all your questions and then we'll respond to all your questions.
Okay. We live across the street behind the other strip mall on Harry and Hillside, and we've had a bar there before. There was shooting, drunkenness, brawls, fighting. People slept, drunks slept in the alley behind our fence. We'd find them in the daytime, trash all the way around. And we also belong to All Saints Catholic Church, which is at the corner of Harry and Hillside. And right now, we have a problem with homeless people coming across the street and sleeping around the entrances to the school. And the children and the teachers there are very uncomfortable with that. And I think with the addition of a bar in that same area, we're going to have the same problems and more drunks sleeping in the street or, across the street at the school.
Okay.
Do you have anything you want to add?
Yes, I think the main problem we have is homeless people are finding shelter in this area. We find them sleeping in our backyard, and some of these people are so inebriated that you can kick their bodies and they don't even move, and it's very disgusting, to say the least.
And I'm sorry, thank you for your patience with us. We've never been here before or done anything like this
Yes.
before. Thank you.
It's okay. Thank you. Thank you for coming to make your comments. Is there anyone else in chambers who would like to comment on this item? Okay, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and you also have 3 minutes.
Nicholas Navoychek, 1711 South George, Washington. I manage an apartment complex. It's 101 units. I think you have the information from the owner. He just wanted me to reiterate that we're working. We have the same concerns that they have about parking, trash, violence, shootings. That's all happen whenever there's an event center that's going to be selling alcohol.
Are you aware with the previous occupants if they had security on site during the times of events?
No.
They didn't have it, or you don't know?
I do not know.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
So that's all I had to say.
Okay. Any questions for the speaker?
Yeah, just a point of clarification. Was that just a bar that was across the street, or was it an event center?
They would know better, but from my understanding of this event center is going to be selling alcohol. And that's what our concern is. You know, it's not the fact that they're going to have kids' parties or whatnot. It's the fact that if they're selling alcohol, it's a bar, it's a nightclub. There's going to be people parking on George Washington and in their neighborhood and in the neighborhood I manage. So we're just concerned about crime, cars broken into, houses getting broken into, and et cetera.
I guess I see a distinct difference between an event center that serves alcohol and just a bar that people go to get blasted. So that's.
Commissioner McKay?
Sir, I'd like to ask a question of him.
Yes.
In this proposed area, is there other businesses at this present time?
There's restaurants and stuff like that in the same area. T-Mobile, I believe, is over there.
No, I'm talking about within within the application area.
I
know it's a strip type center that's there.
I noticed a sign for a trophy place and a couple. I've never noticed anything open over there.
Okay, so there is no other businesses.
That I've seen, and I'm right across the street. Maybe they would know, but I know there was there used to be a casino or something in there. There was one of those that got shut down, an illegal casino in that strip mall about a year or two ago.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else present who would like to speak on this item? Is there anyone participating virtually who would like to speak on this item? Okay, hearing none, we have the agent or the applicants come back to the podium to respond to the concerns that have been expressed. We'll allow Christina to translate the concerns so they can respond.
Ok, solo quería responder a lo que ellos dicen. Está muy lejos, los departamentos son muy lejos del área donde vamos a tener el salón de eventos y es imposible que se estacionen ahí porque hay doble carretera. Aparte, queda muy lejos.
Yeah, she's saying that it's impossible for them to park near the apartments because there's a 4-lane boulevard that essentially bisects the apartments from the proposed nightclub in the city.
Además, contamos con seguridad. Nosotros vamos a estar al pendiente. Por lo regular trabajamos con mucho hispano, entonces tenemos seguridad afuera también. No va a haber interrupciones de personas.
And there will be outdoor security.
During all the times that there's an event present?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay. And can you perhaps explain the difference between a nightclub and an event center from the technical standpoint, Christina?
Yes. So in this case, the nightclub in the city is going to be accessory to an event center. So an event center is where you can have events, but in this case, they're going to provide possible DJ, and then they're not going to be serving alcohol, but there's possible that there will be providing alcohol at this venue, and so that's what triggers the nightclub in the city.
So not selling alcohol, but serving alcohol, is
Correct.
that accurate? Okay.
Correct.
So like I have my party, I bring the beer for my guests, and that's.
correct.
Okay.
So to extrapolate on that, just kind of for the record, anytime there will only be entertainment and alcohol maybe present during events, and those are pre-scheduled events. That's what an event center is a space that is there for rent. And so then when an event happens, then there's the possibility, and the nightclub in the city designation allows them to have a DJ and alcohol, like if somebody wanted to rent it out for a wedding reception or a birthday party or something like that. Okay. So there would only be those items possibly available at the time of the event. When there's not an event going on, those items cannot be there.
So if I wander by or someone not invited, the security would serve to prevent them from entering the building?
Contamos con dos seguridades para la parte de afuera y un seguridad en la parte de adentro para que todo esté en orden. Es algo, lo repito, es algo familiar donde habrá niños y personas de todas las edades.
Está preguntando si nadie puede entrar solamente para tomar alcohol. Tiene que ser un evento.
Oh, sí, tiene que ser un evento.
Sí.
Yes. It has to be an event that's happening in order for alcohol and live entertainment to be provided.
Okay, Commissioner Aldrich.
There's been mention of security. I'm curious on whether or not you're gonna be hiring professional, security personnel or that, that's licensed, or is it just gonna be some friends or neighbors or explain how the security is gonna work.
Seguridad con licencia.
There will be security, licensed security.
Y la seguridad está antes de que entre la gente para que cheque que no traiga
Y son
armas.
los últimos al final es que se van. Están al pendiente de afuera y
And
adentro.
there'll be the checkpoint outside.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay,
So,
thank you.
so there won't be any events that are held before 5 PM? The baby showers or anything like that won't be held before 5 PM?
Bueno, nosotros los hispanos, por lo regular, empieza de 5 a veces a 12 a 1 de la mañana.
11 o 12 de la noche.
Us Latinos have baby showers at like 5 o'clock.
I'm sorry.
I'm Mexican.
I'm sorry. Pero prometemos, por ejemplo, como ellos que son de los departamentos, prometemos hacer todo lo posible para que nuestras personas del evento no molesten el área de los apartamentos.
And they're gonna do their best not to disturb any of the apartments in the area.
No outdoors, loudspeakers, music.
No.
Solo inside.
Adentro, solo adentro. Yeah.
Only inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions for the applicant? Commissioner Williams-Bey?
Well, if I'm reading this correctly, it says that we have the ability to revoke the supplemental use, supplemental regulations if they violate, right?
Yes, and you're fully aware that your permission would be revoked if anyone complains with support of the staff, yes, if you break the rules.
Sí, de hecho, nosotros nos gusta trabajar con todas las reglas.
They're fully aware of that compliance.
Okay, thank you. And, all right. Any other questions? Did we call for any virtual participants? I believe so. I will now bring this back to the commission for discussion. Commissioner Foster.
I think this is another case where the way the terminology is defined in the regulations is misleading for people. A nightclub in the city sounds really bad, but this is an event center, which is actually a different case entirely. My inclination is to approve this application.
Any other discussion or comments, commissioners?
A motion?
In that case, I would like to move to approve per staff comments.
We have a motion to approve per staff comments, a second from Commissioner Foster, a second from Commissioner Warren. Any further discussion? I would then call for a vote. All in favor of approving the application, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion passes 13-0. I would also encourage the neighbors to make use of the homeless action team, which is available to support homeless persons that are in the neighborhood, and their purpose is to help find those folks, support and help through local resources. And again, remember your responsibility. If something happens that violates the agreements that you heard today, call and report it, because that will help hold the applicants accountable. And thanks for coming to provide your testimony today. All right, next item on our agenda will be item 4.7. Zoning case 2023 quadruple 06 and community unit plan. Christina, you're back at the table. It's your day.
This is case number zone 2023 quadruple 06 and CUP 2023 quadruple 03. This is quite a complicated case, and I hope that I spelled it out as clearly as possible in my report. The applicant is requesting, 1, a zone change on the proposed parcel 8 of CUP Development Plan 323 from Office Warehouse District to GC General Commercial District. And they're also requesting a minor amendment to the Moorings Plaza 5th Community Unit Plan, which is the same CUP. The subject properties combined are 14.19 acres in size, and they're zoned OW Office Warehouse and LC Limited Commercial District. This is located at 4319 North Meridian. The applicant seeks to change the zoning on the proposed parcel 8 from OW Office Warehouse District to GC General Commercial District. So this L shape here would be GC General Commercial District. They're also looking to amend the provisions of the CUP and amend the boundaries of the CUP. So first off, let's talk about the zone change. The applicant is requesting the zone change in order to allow residential uses on what will become parcel 8 of this CUP. The parcel is currently zoned office warehouse, which does not allow residential uses. I'm going to skip down a little bit to amending the provisions of the CUP. The applicant also seeks to amend the parcel boundaries. As you can see here on this particular parcel here is just a mishmash of various sized parcels. Parcels 1, 2, 3, and 4 in that current CUP would be reconfigured into 7 almost equal parcels and Reserve A. And then what's currently parcel 9, which is this L shape, would become parcel 8. The applicant seeks to amend the general provisions of CUP DP 323. If you look at the end of your report, they're basically rewriting the general provisions on parking, setbacks, signage, exterior lighting, utilities, landscaping, screening, and architectural controls. And the revised CUP also adds land uses for each of its parcels. Parcels 1 through 7 restrict certain uses on the property that include residential uses and more intense uses, such as vehicle repair limited, wireless communication facility, and asphalt or concrete plant limited. However, it permits certain uses on parcels 2 through 7 that would normally require a conditional use, such as entertainment establishment in the city, nightclub in the city, as an accessory to an existing operation, and event center in the city. A CUP amendment here acts in lieu of a conditional use because the notification and public hearing processes are pretty much the same. Just as a recap, on February 6th of this year, the applicant submitted additional revisions to the CUP amendment. Parcels 1 through 7 shall allow all permitted uses within the LC Limited Commercial District, with the exception of nightclub in the city as a primary use. So on parcel 8, we're gonna now allow vehicle storage yard. Vehicle storage yard is only for the use of operable vehicles and does not allow for wrecking and salvage. If parcel 8 develops as a vehicle storage yard, that it shall be prohibited on the north 185 feet of parcel 8. Third, the screening requirements were revised. And then it clarifies the building signage requirements so that building signage shall not exceed 400 square feet. And then in March, these revisions were presented to the District Advisory Board District 6, and the DAB recommended approval of these applications in the revised language. And then at Wichita City Council, they voted to refer it back to the MAPC so you guys could hear these additional revisions. In terms of amending the boundaries of the CUP, the revised document removes all parcels from the CUP that were previously eliminated by either CUP amendment or a PUD amendment. And so that really cleans up the CUP. Skipping down here, the proposed applications are in conformance with the Community Investments Plan. The 2035 Wichita Future Growth Concept Map identifies the area to be appropriate for new residential. Parcels 1 through 7 can be developed with a variety of limited commercial uses. And then the zone change for parcel 8 would permit residential development in concert with the existing MF18 zoning abutting the east. Based upon the information available at this time, the staff report was prepared. Staff is recommending that the CUP amendment and the zone change be approved, subject to the conditions that all other requirements of the CUP remain in effect unless or until a separate zoning action is filed. 2, the applicant shall submit 4 revised copies of the CUP and 1 electronic copy of the revised CUP to the Metropolitan Area Planning Department within 60 days after approval of this case by the governing body, or the request shall be considered denied and closed. This recommendation is based on the golden rules, which are listed in your staff report, and we did not receive any comment on the proposed zone change CUP amendment. I did receive a phone call asking what it was about, and I tried my best to explain it. And with that, I will stand for questions.
Commissioner Aldrich.
Could you, would you point out partial 8?
Yes, this L shape here is parcel 8. So in the current CUP, it's parcel 9, but with the revised CUP, it's going to become parcel 8.
Okay, thank you.
And what you were talking about, it's gonna be reserved for storage, would be at the lower section, all the way
Yes,
down?
so the north 185 feet here will be prohibited from having any sort of vehicle storage yard, just this lower part. And that's mainly to serve as a buffer between the residential uses with that PUD there.
Did that answer your question, Commissioner Aldrich?
Yeah, I just
Okay.
wanted, just for clarification purposes.
Okay, and Commissioner Foster?
Just for my education as a board member, if this is a minor amendment, what constitutes a major amendment? Because we're basically revising everything but like 6 words. I'm just curious.
So a major versus a minor is based on the laned area that's being changed. So, for example, it's not based on what they're doing, it's based on how much of the CUP is being affected. Less than 50% is a minor, more than 50% is a major.
Okay, well, who knew?
So for
Thank you.
example, the Townie small case with round 1, it was one particular use, but it was on parcel 1, which is the majority of the mall. So that was a major amendment, even though it was for one use.
Thank you, that does clarify things for me. I would like to say that I think Christina did an excellent job of explaining this very complex thing. I think I understand what's going on. Unless someone else would like to speak, I'd like. Yep.
Commissioner Aldrich?
Yeah, I do have another question. Was there any requirement for notification to any of the other residents up to the moorings, for example?
So it was just the standard, which is everyone within the CUP has to be notified, and then if it's between 6 and 15 acres, I believe it's within those parcels, it's another 500-foot radius.
Okay, so my question was anybody notified up there?
Yes, we and then you guys had a meeting as well. Did you guys have a meeting on this one? No, not on this one. I apologize.
Yeah, because I wasn't aware of anything.
Okay.
So,
But you were supposed to be notified via mail.
well, I mean, I'm out of the notification district or portion on that, but I was just curious.
Okay. And we could provide the actual notification area, correct?
Yes, we can do
Okay.
that.
Any other questions for staff? If not, we'll ask the agent, please, to come forward.
Good afternoon, Brian Lindeback, MKEC Engineering, 411 North Webb Road. Of course, this case was once approved prior to, we had made these changes, and we were online and couldn't get our hand raised up for the meeting. So that's what happened, just so everybody knows. So we got the items fixed at DAB, so the DAB approved what presumably you'll approve today. But with regard to the changes, we've been working with the adjacent owners as well as the developer. One thing I'd like to point out, we are in agreement with staff comments. I'd like to just point out, as far as the MF18 component on this parcel here, it does also have a similar restriction as the outdoor storage. It's restricted on the north 185 feet of that property. So with that, I'll stand for any additional questions.
Okay. Commissioner Aldrich?
What type of residential housing are you looking at putting in there?
It's an option, so that we don't have any plans to develop single family or multifamily there. It's just an option so that because this property was zoned MF18 in the not so distant past, so that if they were to be developed together, they could share in that land use.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions for the applicant? Commissioner McKay?
My only question is, the access to get into the back part, is it paved or is?
This road here, 42nd Street, as well as Cobblestone and
north of the church there.
41st Street, those are all paved roads.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions for the applicant? Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Nice to see you in person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyone in chambers who would like to speak on this item? Anyone participating virtually who would like to speak on this item? Okay, I'll bring it back to the commission. Discussion, anybody?
I'd move we approve subject to staff comments. They did a great job of reworking this, I think.
Second.
Commissioner McKay has made a motion to approve per staff comments. Second for Commissioner Hartman. Any further discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Thank you, Brian, for ensuring no technical difficulties today. Worth the drive. All righty. The next case we have to hear is item 4.12, and guess what? Christina, you're back at the table.
This is zone case 2023-00015. The applicant is requesting a zone change from SF5 Single Family Residential District to TF3 Two Family Residential District at 247 North Elizabeth Avenue. The subject site is 0.164 acres in size, which is also 7,143 square feet in total, and the applicant is requesting to construct a duplex. The subject site is currently undeveloped. I was speaking with someone in the Delano district, and they said that there was previously a fire at this house, and it was raised by the city, and so now it's undeveloped. The property is located within the Delano overlay and is subject to the Delano neighborhood design guidelines. And the applicant will be required to submit elevations to the planning department prior to the issuance of building permits. I am the staff person for the Delano Design Advisory Committee, so I will be reviewing those elevations and drawings prior to the issuance of building permits. The character of the neighborhood is residential. Properties to the north, south, and east are all zoned SF5 single-family residential and developed with single-family residences. Properties to the west are zoned single-family residential and two-family residential and are developed with a single-family residence and a duplex respectively. Within one block of the subject site, there are 6 properties zoned TF3 Two-Family Residential District and MF18 Multifamily Residential District and are developed with either duplexes or apartment complexes. Thus, a duplex is in alignment with the existing character of the neighborhood. The requested zoning is in conformance with the Community Investments Plan. The 2035 Wichita Future Growth Concept Map identifies this site as appropriate for residential development. And the requested zoning aligns with the goals of the Wichita Places for People Plan. It aligns with specifically Strategy 5, provide a diversity of housing options to attract new residents and allow existing residents to remain in the established central area. It also aligns with Strategy 6, encourage infill and redevelopment that is contextual to the environment in which it is occurring. Given the character of the neighborhood, a duplex is appropriate for this site. It's also in conformance with the Delano Neighborhood Plan. The plan's future land use concept identifies the subject area as residential, and the existing land use identifies the subject area as residential suburban. Based upon the information available at the time the staff report was completed, staff recommends approval of the zone change request. It mentions here that at the time the staff report was prepared, staff did not receive any comments. That has since changed. I have received phone calls inquiring about this, and I received an email literally a few hours inquiring about this, not necessarily in support or in opposition, just inquiring about the property. And with that, I will, let's go to site photos, please. This is looking west towards the subject site. Next slide, please. This is looking north away from the site. Next slide, please. And this is looking south away from the subject site. And with that, I will stand for questions.
Questions for staff at this time? Can you remind me of parking requirements for a duplex?
It is 1 per dwelling unit.
1 per dwelling unit. So 2 off-street parking spaces would have to be allowed? Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Hear none, then we'll ask the agent or applicant, please, to come forward.
He said he would be here virtually, but.
Okay. Mr. Gray, are you present virtually? If so, check that you're unmuted, please.
Rod, are you online?
Yeah. I failed to double check, did I not? I'm fired. Do we have a way to make a quick call? Not online? Okay. Mr. Roderick's not online. Legal or staff, can you remind me of what happens in this case?
The problem is we do have people here from the public
Right.
wishing to speak.
Right.
When they speak, then the applicant doesn't have an opportunity to rebut.
Response.
So let's see if we can get a hold of them online, if we can.
Okay.
Since this is our last case, and wait just a couple minutes. We've done it both ways,
Okay.
because, members of the public have had to take efforts to
Time to
get
be
here.
here, correct.
Right.
Yep, let's try to get a hold of him. We could do some jumping jacks. You're wanting to speak on this case, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, and I think there are at least maybe two over here.
Okay,
Some of these folks have taken time.
right, exactly. That's why, yeah, that's right. That's why we're gonna make an effort to find the applicant, because he's the one who has to hear your concerns so they can respond to your concerns. So, wow. Yeah, I'm very sorry, and we appreciate the effort it takes to get here for your comments. Commissioner McKay?
Jeff, can we take their comments in reverse of the?
Reverse the order?
Well, the only
He won't
problem
hear
is
it.
the applicant wouldn't be able to hear, so there wouldn't be a chance for rebuttal unless we were to articulate any questions that they had.
My only comment would be if they, there's nobody here other than those three people, if they would give us their opposition and be of record, and then we would defer it, but they wouldn't have to come back. That's all I'm trying to get at.
You could go ahead, we have done it in the past where we have taken public comment, and then you guys can make a decision on it, or you can defer it to see if the applicant shows back up. But in any event, we need to have a record of any questions or a summarization, if not transcript of the presumably opposition to the application.
Okay. Commissioner Foster?
Just a comment in response to Christina's note about the two parking spaces. I live like 2 blocks away, and two off-street parking spaces is considerably more than most homes in
the
that
homes
neighborhood
have in the
have.
area.
People regularly park on the street in those neighborhoods.
Yeah. Okay. What's a reasonable amount? Yes, Commissioner McKay?
I'd like to propose a motion that we hear the opposition and keep record of it, and then at that point in time, make a determination whether or not we're going to go forward with the application, and maybe by then the applicant will come on board.
Okay, and we'll have we can request a exact transcript of this portion of the meeting.
I would almost recommend if you go forward with hearing the public, just to go ahead and vote on the matter, because the applicant's been notified to be here, and it's kind of,
Gotcha.
we shouldn't stop the
right.
world for something like that.
Okay.
Can we wait until Philip gets back? Because I know he went and called
You went to call?
to see. Yeah, and then I would be more than happy to
Okay.
second
Just
it.
take a couple more minutes. We'll see.
You really don't need a motion to do
Okay.
that. You can just go forward with it.
We're taking a short break until Philip returns after attempting to bring Mr. Gray onto the phone, and then we'll take public comments and.
So everybody's scared at the door.
Right. Come on, Philip. Roderick Gray. Yeah, it did.
Okay, I'm on.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
And what case?
It's Roger.
Are you online?
Yes,
Rod, are
I'm
you
on the
online?
Zoom phone. I've been here. Yes.
Mr. Gray? Okay, our agent, folks who are participating, our agent is online now, so if you could return your attention to the meeting. Mr. Gray, would you please give us your name and address, and then you have 10 minutes to tell us about your project. Go ahead.
Thank you. I was online. I'm so sorry for the inconvenience there, everybody. But my name is Rod Gray with Gray & Son Construction. The property is located at 247 North Elizabeth.
And what is your address, sir? What is your address, please?
I'm sorry?
What is your
Yes,
address,
250.
please?
Yes. My address is 250 North Rock Road, Wichita, Kansas.
Okay, thank you. And now you have 10 minutes to
And
tell us
regard-
about your project.
Okay. What we've done is taken a vacant lot that's been vacant in that neighborhood for quite some time now and provided plight in the area. Cleaned up the lot, looking to rezone it to build a small duplex. The duplex will consist of a 2-car garage in the front and a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom open floor concept. It'll be 1 garage per unit, and the square footage of each unit will be approximately 1,200 square feet. They will have a separate driveway, so there'll be off-street parking for 2 cars on each side, and all the finishes will be modern regarding the countertops and the lighting. I'll take any questions.
Any questions from the commission for the applicant? Commissioner Foster?
Have you discussed with city staff the requirements of the Delano overlay district? I'm thinking in particular, if you're putting the garage or garages in the front of this, you may want to double check your site plans because there are requirements about the percentage of the frontage of the building that can be a garage, as I understand it. Have you talked with them about that?
I believe that process will be coming next for the Delano plan. We are currently building in the area, have 2 other duplexes in the area, but we will double check with them and make sure that requirement is followed.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? Mr. Gray, if you would stay online then, we're going to take public comment and we need you to listen to the concerns or support being expressed so that you can then reply after hearing public comment. So now, if you folks would please proceed to the podium. Don't be shy. Thank you.
My name is William Glander. I own the property at 235 North Elizabeth. I bought this property because it is a residential area, and what I disapprove of it is I want it to stay a single family home because my kids, and then my issue is the way they're talking about the parking. There is very bad parking in this neighborhood, and there are other regulations that I see that do get violated a lot. But that is my thing, and I've talked to my neighbors. A lot of them are against it. They haven't been able to get here, but one of them, she emailed him about the parking. And I talked to the other neighbors. They wanted to try to make it like a community garden there, and that's it.
Have you made an attempt to purchase that property or?
Yes, I have, and just got a run around, and the other 3 people, the guy that lives right across the street, he's even told me that they tried to, and the lady that lives to the south of the property told me they've tried to purchase it, and all 3 of us have gotten nothing but a runaround telling us that there was no way to purchase it.
Okay. Any other concerns or any questions?
My only other concern is making it a duplex is that you will have 2 renters instead of just 1 renter. And being a homeowner, I live with some of the renters around there, and I want to make sure that if you do get tenants in there, that they're not going to be disruptive.
Okay. Ready? Any questions for the speaker? Thank you, sir, for coming to testify. Next speaker, please.
Madam Chairwoman, members of the Planning Commission, thank you for your service to Wichita and Sedgwick County. My name is Harold Schlechtweg. I live at 351 North Fern Street in Wichita, about 2 blocks from the lot. The applicant is asked to be rezoned from single family to a dual family residential. I am speaking in opposition to this request for rezoning at this time. At a minimum, we'd like to see the action, and I shouldn't say that, I should say I would like to see the action delayed. I know there are others who would like to see the action delayed until the owner of this property submits plans that meet requirements of the Delano Neighborhood Design Guidelines. The owner of the vacant lot in question wants to build a duplex. Those I've spoken to don't object to building a duplex on that property. Done right, it might enhance the value of the property in the neighborhood and contribute to well-being of our Delano neighborhood. However, the property owner who doesn't live in our neighborhood has not submitted plans with his application showing his design for what he will build there. To use language my grandfather would understand, this commission is being asked to buy a pig in a poke. The Delano neighborhood is subject to design guidelines. There is an advisory committee of citizens and a design review committee made up of the planning department staff that in theory weigh in on plans before a building permit is issued. I say in theory because the facts attest to it. The building department has issued permits without requiring builders to seek approval from the planning commission staff, the design advisory committee, or the design review committee. Case in point, the Dumont Place apartments are being stuck right in the middle of Delano, a huge apartment complex that was construction started after a building permit was issued. Key Construction is headquartered in Delano. They're building it. They know the rules, but hey, if the building department forgets to enforce them, Key isn't going to object. Second case in point, the city's historic preservation officer, not the current one, but several years ago, a member of staff administratively approved in a very small handful of instances that flagrantly violate the Delano overlay guidelines, duplexes. So we have, fewer, I would say maybe 3 that I'm aware of in the whole Delano neighborhood, duplexes. This was done without submitting them to the advisory board or the design review committee. These actions have shaken citizens' confidence in the entire process.
Sir, you have about 10 seconds left, so is there any other issue you want to raise?
I will say we aren't naive.
Okay.
The Wichita Area Buildings Association has run a full court press to relax the rules regarding the building of duplexes. They will violate the 60% requirement that be a front lawn if it's built according to the way it was described.
Yeah, thank you for your
We
question.
would like the action delayed till he brings in a permit, till he brings in a program that he can submit.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Any questions for the speaker? Okay, is there another speaker on this item? You have a question? Commissioner Green, will you return to the microphone? We have a question for you.
Is the alley in the backyard of this property, is that an active and usable alley?
It's a very broad alley, and there could be parking in the rear of the building if they build it that way. But putting the garage in front, there's a huge concrete apron. It looks totally different than anywhere else. But if they do it in a proper way, we have duplexes all over Delano, but they meet the standards of the guidelines.
Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you. Is there another speaker on this item? Okay, please come to the podium. Your name and address, please. And you have 3 minutes. We've heard and remind you of the repetitiveness. We want to make sure you add any additional concerns that haven't been presented already.
Okay, that sounds good. My name is Eva Mosier. I live at 220 North Elizabeth Street for over 40 years. I love that neighborhood. It's been mostly residential. There is a duplex in our block, and that does cause a lot of commotion out there. I won't go into it. Has a lot to do with disregarding the neighbors in our property. And then also, I do not like the idea of a duplex being put into our area as well. It's always been a residential for the longest time. I believe that it's going to create a lot of congestion with traffic than what we already have now because of the different visitors that come and visit the residents, whether they be owners or renters. I do not want to be doubled. I don't want to be taxed even more concerning with the changes that could take place in that area. I don't want the idea, I don't even like hearing the idea of possibly even our utility bills going higher. We already pay enough taxes as it is. We all live in a certain income, anyway, in this neighborhood we do. And I don't have anything else to say, but I sure do thank you for listening to our concerns.
Thank you for your comments. Any question for the speaker? All right. Anyone else in the chambers who wants to speak on this item? And is there anyone participating virtually who would like to speak on this item? Hearing none, we'd ask Mr. Gray, please, to respond to the concerns that you heard expressed. You have 2 minutes for your responses.
Yes. I had a little trouble hearing the response. Could you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
Were you able to hear the speakers and the issues that they raised about concerns about parking, about the design?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So could you talk to us, please, about the concerns you heard and how you would address those issues?
Yes, we will follow Delano's guidelines to the T. We have to submit that plan in advance before we can even start digging a hole. So those plans will be submitted and approved, and all the guidelines will be met. We've done several in the area and have met Delano's guidelines. It won't be any congestion. These are 2-family residences. It's not a 4 or 8 unit complex. So it won't be much congestion. Parking will be adequate. Delano guidelines will make sure of that, and we will build according to those guidelines. There won't be any raise of utilities in the area because of the duplex. So we are aware and heard the concerns, and we want to follow and make sure that the neighborhood is enhanced. And we will do that with this bill. We'll bring a quality duplex to the area. I think the whole neighborhood will be proud of.
Okay, thank you. Does the commission have any additional questions for the applicant? Commissioner Williams Bay?
Yes, could you share with us the size of the lot?
Yes, the lot is 50 wide by 120 deep.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? I would then bring this back to the commission. Your comments? Commissioner Foster?
I appreciate the applicant's willingness to design by the guidelines. I would like to ask staff whether the concern expressed by one of the members of the public who spoke, is the building department letting these guidelines go by the wayside when they give approval of some of these duplexes?
There have been a couple instances where building permits were issued. The apartments that are just south of Douglas in the Delano Business District, for example, that Mr. Schlettweg mentioned, they were starting to build the foundation, but before anything, they stopped what they were doing. They submitted plans for review. So there have been a couple instances where it did slip through the cracks. The Delano design review did not catch at the building permit level, but they were all caught and construction halted until designs came through and were reviewed and approved before construction continued.
And the design was revised before it was approved by the Delano design staff.
And the zoning change, procedurally, the zoning change is what our body approves, but the design is the next phase.
Yes.
So if we don't approve the zoning, then there's no reason to go to the design phase. So that's why you haven't seen that. Is that accurate, Philip?
Yeah, so to your point, there's not a requirement that the elevations are submitted with the zone change application. One thing I would also clarify is that because of the instances that have happened with the building and construction department, planning staff has had discussions with the director and other applicable staff with MAPC downstairs to work on addressing this, because it did happen a couple times, to say we need to have stops in place to make sure this doesn't happen again. And worked with us to make sure that nothing slips through the cracks in the future.
I appreciate that, and I find that reassuring. I don't object in principle to duplexes. I do object to duplexes that look like gigantic garage entrances stuck in the middle of our historic neighborhoods. So, but for the people who are here, understand that this is the process, and right now, we're just talking about a zoning change, and the applicant is not required to submit plans for the building yet. That's the next step.
Okay. Any other comments from the commission at this point? Commissioner Warren.
And because those safeguards are in place in terms of having to be reviewed by the various committees that have oversight over Delano, I would move to approve as presented.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Warren and have a second from Commissioner Duell. Any further discussion by the committee? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, nay? The motion passes 13-0. For those of you who did take your time to be here today, it might seem very disgruntling that we hear your concerns and continue to approve, but housing is in great demand in our community. And one of the beautiful things about Delano in my mind is that there are mixed housing options, which makes it such a rich community, a place everybody wants to live. So remember your rights as neighbors. If there is problem, that you will report and complain so that we can take action accordingly. I'm sorry, the public comment is over, but we can speak after if you like, okay? Okay, alrighty. Thank you for your time today. Our meeting is now adjourned. Thank you for your participation as volunteers serving on the commission. Have a great rest of your afternoon. Yeah, well, actually.